Hey, what's up, Messengers listeners? Today we are talking promotional items, those little keychains and tchotchkes and stress balls that you get at every work function and trade show that you go to. We're going to talk a little bit about which ones of them are a waste of money, which ones of them actually can work and add some value to your marketing, and when you should look to invest in something like that and when you should avoid it. Stay tuned. All right, welcome to the Messengers podcast. I am Chris Searles. With me here today is Rob Seifert, our creative director here at Searles Graphics. Today we're talking promotional items. Always the fun stuff that you take away in your swag bag at a trade show and a conference that 95% of it ends up in the garbage within a week or two. I think there's a couple of key items I liked or key kind of talking points I think that go along with when that stuff is actually worthwhile and the stuff that I know that I keep and hang on to versus the stuff that just kind of gets either not taken in the first place or thrown in the garbage right away. For me, the first one is don't be cheap. A lot of times that stuff, you pick it up at a trade show or somebody gives it to you, leaves it at your office, and it gets thrown away immediately because it's just not even worth hanging on to. It's just garbage. Yeah. So I think a lot of times people do that because they feel like, well, we don't have to spend a lot of money. It's, it's a pen or it's a keychain or it's a mouse, but whatever. So just get something cheap to put our logo on it and hand out as many as you can. And really that ends up just being a waste of money, and you're not saving any money. You're just wasting it all.
Yeah, it doesn't reflect well on your company or your quality of service or product either.
Yeah,
right?
And people don't hang on to it, right?
Yeah.
So what's the point? I mean, the whole point of a promotional item is you want somebody to see it on a regular basis. You want it to be valuable to them,
right?
So that they're seeing your name and your logo constantly, and in the best case scenario, that they have your phone number and an email address or a website right in front of them when they need it.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of the case that I dealt with a client that we have. He deals with landscape service industry. He wants to reach landscapers. And for years, he's been purchasing mouse pads. They're not cheap. He's spending a few $1,000s on mouse pads for all his clients to hand out as freebies there. But I had a conversation with him a couple of years ago, kind of explaining to him that something that if the idea was, as you mentioned, to keep his logo and name in front of these people, that they're really not in the office as much as he would think nowadays. They're kind of rolling around in the trucks on their phones, and their offices are out of their vehicles. So, I suggested maybe doing air fresheners. His logo happens to be in the shape of a tree. They sell air fresheners in the shape of a tree, and it was about a quarter of the cost. So, I think that's one case in where you can, evaluate where people are actually seeing these promotional items and the purpose of it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, mouse pads, you only need one. Mm-hmm. And the one I have on my desk, I know I've had for 10 years, probably at least. And a lot of people these days don't even need one. Yeah. If you're working on a laptop all the time or a tablet or on your mobile device, or you don't have an office, or if you're a B2C company and again, what do you have? One computer in a household, and these days that kind of family computer is not what it used to be either. Everybody's got a laptop or their own device, and that kind of is what it is. So, I always kind of go back to the cost element and or really more of a quality question, not a cost, because just because something is inexpensive doesn't mean that it's not of a high quality. Like to your point, right, where you could spend less money and still get a high quality item that's of value and maybe more valuable to somebody at a lower cost.
Right.
But I always kind of say, do something that's nice, but not necessarily so nice that it's something the recipient doesn't want your corporate logo on. You know, if it's something that's meant to be, I've seen that before where you go to an event or a function or something like that, and there's a really, really nice kind of promotional item that they've put together, whether it's I've seen, you know, cigar dinners where they do these, like, you know, it's where it's like a humidor with like a cigar cutter and, you know, that kind of stuff in there. But it's got the company logo right on the outside of the humidor.
Right.
And it's, you know, you're putting something that's meant to be displayed in somebody's home and sticking your logo on it. They're not going to display that in their home. It's not a, you know, it's not the cigar company's logo. It's some random company that has nothing to do with, you know, their like of cigars or whatever that, you know, that
most people aren't smoking cigars in their office either, so you're not going to put it on your desk.
Not anymore. You know, but so that's why, you know, always kind of tread lightly on that, where it's nice enough that it's something somebody wants to hang on to, but not so nice that they don't want they want to hang on to it, but they don't want to hang on to it with your logo on it.
Right.
The other, one of the other keys, I think, to doing promotional items well is to commit. I think, you know, a lot of times we'll see somebody just kind of try something different every time. You know, they go to a trade show, let's get some stress balls with our logo on it. The next one, it's let's get some mouse pads. The next one, it's USB drives. And there's not really any consistency to it. There's not really any meaning behind any of it. It's just kind of like, all right, well, we think somebody might want something like this, and let's go. Right. Where I look at a company like TD Bank, who, you know, whenever I need a pen, I just go to the bank.
Right.
Now I don't have to buy pens anymore. You know, but they encourage people to do that specifically because they know that, I mean, look, we're talking about it on a podcast, right?
Yeah.
That reaches millions and millions of listeners.
Yeah, that's when you say on a massive level. They do it. So everybody has a TD pen.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the I always have one or two in my car. I always have at home. If I'm missing pens, then, you know, I make sure I grab a couple extras when I'm there. And, you know, that's something I think has always been done really well. And it's not,
right.
You know, I guess it's somewhat related to what they do. There's always well, really, it's actually highly related to what they do. It was the difference between going to a bank where you had a pen on a chain, you know, because they didn't trust their customers enough not to steal a pen, right? But they're holding all of your money, and they came around and said that's the most ridiculous thing we've ever heard of. Here are all the pens you could ever need. Take one, take a bunch, whatever you got to do. Take a pen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definite philosophical statement for a bank.
Yeah. The other one of the other ones I see a lot is apparel. Generally speaking, there are very, very few companies that can pull off apparel as a promotional item. You know, if you're a lifestyle brand or you're a clothing company, you know, people will wear your logo. If you're a destination, you know, a tourist spot, or, you know, even some bars and restaurants and stuff like that, they can get away with that kind of stuff. And not only get away with it, but it can be successful. It can be, you know, if you really are a place that people want to be associated with, or but they're few and far between. For most people that are looking at promotional items, apparel isn't going to do it. And we were talking about this recently. We had a customer who, I'm not going to give any specifics because I don't really want to call them out, but started, not only had a bunch of apparel made with their logo and their business on it, but was actually trying to sell the apparel. It wasn't a giveaway. It was supposed to be now like a product.
Right.
And there's no way anybody is ever going to want to buy that. It would be one of those things where I don't think anybody would wear it if you gave it to them.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you get lucky and they'd wear it as like a t-shirt at night, or, you know, something if they're out working in their garden or something because it was free and they didn't care if they ruined it. But that, to me, there's just a disconnect there in what you feel. I think everybody, when you start a business, a lot of times there's this idea that everybody's as connected to your business and your brand as you are, because it's so important and meaningful to you,
Right.
that you feel like everybody should have that kind of connection with it. And the reality is that's just not true. I mean, there's just...
Yeah, no, there'd have to be something pretty special about it if they were expected to pay for it, aside from their logo on it,
Yeah.
It would have to be, a quality shirt with some type of design or saying on it that was of interest, that made people want it.
And then at that point, then you're running an apparel company.
Right. That's the difference is, something like that.
So I would say apparel is for employees. Do something nice, give it to your employees, and let that be kind of what it is, because even getting employees, a lot of times, unless your employees have a lot of buy-in to your company, even that's a struggle for a lot of times, so let alone your customers.
Yeah. I saw a local person in an area where I live where he ran a local business, and he made these quality hooded sweatshirts with his logo on it, and he gave it to his son to give out to all the kids at school. Now that was one instance where I felt like, if it was just a branding effort and he was trying to get his name out there for, it was a service industry that he had, and you saw all these kids from the high school wearing these hoodies, and, it was a nice, design on it. It was a nice camouflage hoodie with a logo on it, but it was, it seemed like a good idea to that point. But
yeah, and it doesn't mean that it can't be done the right way, right? And doing something like that where it's kind of like a low key logo, or if the logo or the business itself is something that would be of interest to that group, or at the very least, look, it's just a really nice piece of apparel or a bag or whatever, then yeah, you can kind of get away with that, again, if you're willing to spend that kind of money and feel like you're going to get the value out of it. But
yeah, the cost, I'm sure they were expensive.
The cost, and then and again, ensuring that it's still something that people are going to want to wear. What I see a lot, like I go to a golf outing for a client every year, and they're everybody that kind of sponsors the outing, they're all either car companies, car dealers, that's the industry that everything's in. And there's so much gear, swag stuff, just that they give away. And almost all of it is crap. Like you get these, just these one size fits all hats with, a Toyota logo on it or something like that. And you're looking at it going, nobody's ever going to wear that. It's just nobody's ever going to wear it. Right. Why even bother? Why deal with it?
Right.
Where the other side, you get somebody like that gives out a sleeve of golf balls with their logo on it.
Right.
Generally speaking, they're usually not the best golf balls either. So a lot of times you're not going to use them, or, but at least I can give them to my son, or I can do, something.
Right.
You can do something with those, or
make it back to the house.
Yeah. But the apparel in general, again, because it's not done well. If it was a nice T-shirt with a kind of a low key logo on it, I'd hang on to it. I'd wear it, like I said, out in the yard or, around the house or whatever. But it's usually just nothing that you even want to wear because it's uncomfortable. It doesn't fit right. It doesn't, it just goes in the garbage, or it gets used in my shop as a shop rag.
Yeah. Yeah, I think of, we don't do, we help clients with the, overall marketing of their products and make recommendations in terms of, the right promotional items that we would recommend for who they're trying to reach and what they're trying to accomplish. I know the one thing we do a lot, and we recommend it, and we find it successful ourselves, are notepads. I always say which is more valuable, the notepad or the pen, in terms of promotion, and there's a cost difference there too, but they're not far off. But I mean, with a notepad, with every sheet of paper you get, there's a chance that someone outside of that office is going to get that notepad. And those are the kind of solutions and ideas, I try to look for when I talk to a client. Not that I'm just pushing the notepads, but I'm trying to explain the point that, that in itself, the design of the promotional item adds value to it because it will reach more people.
Yeah. And we've used notepads for almost since day one, right?
Yep.
45 years or so.
Yes.
And they work well for us because for a lot of reasons. One, it's relevant to what we do.
Right.
We're a graphic design and a printing company, and marketing company. I mean, so that's what we do. We, a large part of what we do is putting ink on paper. So, giving somebody something that's representative of that works well.
Right.
Like you said, they travel. Right, people write notes, they hand them to somebody else in their office or at home, or they pin them up and post them somewhere. There's value to that, and every one of them has our phone number and our logo and our name on it. But that's not the focus either. Right. We used to do that years ago where the notepads just had our logo and it was, just that. Right. The stuff we give away now features a lot of your photography, stuff that's representative of the local area, and really interesting, engaging photography that people from this area enjoy and they want to see, and they like having that on their desk and going through those. They last for a while. But at the same time, they're perishable, right? Which I think is kind of key too. You want something that people aren't going to go through in a day. So I think, what do we do? Like 50 sheets on a pad. Right. We always give them away in packs of 2s and stuff like that, so they last for a long enough time to kind of make an impact. But at the same time, they're perishable, which means at some point there's a reason to re-engage with that person with that item.
Sure.
Like a pen runs out of ink at some point. So I think that there's a lot of value in kind of meeting that kind of happy medium where it's not going to go away immediately. You're not going to use it up right away, but at the same time, people, they come into our office all the time. Oh, I need more pads. Or, when you deliver them, they're happy to get them because they use them up and they want more. To that point, they're in high demand. It's something that people actually want. Right. I mean, who doesn't want and need a pad and a pen in their house somewhere at some point in time, or on their desk at work. It doesn't matter how digitally oriented you are. At some point, everybody needs to write something down or take a note or make a shopping list or whatever it is that you're going to do, that you're going to use that for.
Sure. I think in general, people just really need to. I mean, there's a lot of new stuff out there. They can print on almost anything now.
Yeah.
With these new printing technologies, and there's so many options in terms of promotional items. I think it really these things really need to be evaluated as we're talking about it. Who you're trying to reach. To do something right, that's got where you get a good quality product that the people are going to keep and take home, and you just got to kind of measure those things and find out the best solution.
Yeah, I think to kind of target something that people need or want, but wouldn't necessarily buy for themselves, or again, something that, like a notepad that they're going to go through, that's kind of a perishable item, something that they need on a more frequent basis. These days, I think, if you're looking for kind of mass giveaways, device chargers are always, I know they make, fairly inexpensive ones that are kind of universal chargers that you can stick a logo on and hand those out. I don't know anybody that wouldn't grab one of those and probably hang on to it and use it somewhere. Recently, one of the better ones that I got, I think ever, was a trade show that we went to last year, and it was a vendor of ours, and we bought a $40,000 piece of equipment from them. So granted, we got maybe something that was a little nicer than what everybody else got, but it was something they gave to anybody that was kind of like a qualified lead. They weren't just handing them out to everybody that walked by, but it was a Bluetooth speaker.
Oh, right.
Wireless Bluetooth speaker, and it literally sits on my desk, and I use it every single day. I plug my laptop into it because my laptop speakers are garbage, and I never really bothered to. Or actually, I did have a different pair of speakers, a cheap set of old speakers that I used that kind of crapped out on me.
Yeah, I went to the show with you. I have that one too. It's at
Yeah.
home.
Yep.
Know. But I can't recall if it was branded with the
It was.
company.
It's got their logo on it.
Okay. My
Yeah.
daughter uses it.
Just their logo. It was kind of understated. It wasn't, anything crazy, but I probably would have put a name on there. But but it's nice to see something that's not overtly, promotional. It was just kind of like a nice thing that it was almost more of a gift than anything else.
Right.
Thanks for your business.
Yeah. And it made it home.
Yeah, and it's still, like I said, to this day, I stare at it every single day because it's right in my desk, right in front of me. Stuff like that I think is great. These days, I mean, reusable water bottles are kind of big, and you don't have to do those cheap plastic ones that nobody really wants to hang on to where they have 1,000 of them. You can do something really nice, like a high quality, travel coffee mugs. I know I had a couple up until I just invested in a Yeti for myself finally. I bit the bullet and decided to do it. But it was tough creaking the wallet open for that one. But they're nice. Yeti is not a sponsor of this podcast, but
but it's a good product.
But I do like it. But something high quality like that. I mean, I think especially if you're trying to reach, other professionals, travel coffee mugs is always kind of a good option. And like I said, the reusable water bottles these days are becoming a lot more popular as we start to get a little smarter and realize what we're doing to our environment. And
how do you feel about the USB drives? I know years ago when they first started, we used to have requests to pre-program advertisements that would pop up on laptops or computers when the drive was loaded. I mean, do you see that much anymore?
Not anymore, right? Everybody's got cloud storage, and who needs a USB drive anymore?
Right. Yeah.
And that's the other thing, right? You got to kind of be aware of what is in use these days and what's not. USB drives are not an in-demand item anymore. I used to travel around with one on my keychain because I used it all the time, and it was kind of a good way to
You didn't have it on a lanyard?
Oh, always, for sure.
Gotta figure that.
Thanks, I appreciate it. But I did have one on my keychain. Thanks.
Okay.
But who needs that anymore? Everybody's got, for the most part, anybody that is capable or willing to carry one of those around with them all the time has drive storage, cloud storage somewhere.
Now it's a sign of shame.
Which is significantly easier to deal with than carrying around a USB drive.
Right.
So I think in general, those are kind of the principles, right? Make sure it's something that people want enough to hang on to, right? Don't just waste your money on something cheap that it's going to get thrown away right away. And try to do something that's different, relevant, and current. Hey, YouTube, thanks for watching. If you like this, click on the links for more from the Messengers. Don't forget to visit us online on our website at messengers.blog and click the subscribe button below and hit the little bell icon for notifications when new videos post. Thanks.